Pleasure to talk to you guys. Nice to see you again. I'll start with some fan questions, and they were so cute. The first one they wanted to see you. The first question was, why are you fighting in this?
Well, the movie, we can't really explain that without giving away the first hour and a half of the movie, but we promised the fans it does make sense. We're not just making it up. There is a whole movie with a whole reason why we're fighting, and we do end up being kind of on an even terms. I know people are worried like that it doesn't make sense because Superman would just squash Batman, but eventually it does make sense that we're it's a fair fight. But you're gonna have to come see the movie first.
A third question: assuming that these were characters that you loved growing up, how did it really feel portraying them?
It feels great playing Superman. One thing which I've always found with superheroes, my personal belief, is that they are personifications of personality traits and character traits. And my parents instilled in me sort of similar traits to that of Superman, and so I identified with the character. And it's always been a pleasure playing the character because of those reasons.
Yeah, I was thrilled. I mean, I was thrilled to be able to play it in a different way than it had been done before. It's been done so well before by such talented people that we want to go slightly in a different direction, so that it didn't just feel like copying it. And I was excited to do that, excited to do something different and to play him in an even darker and maybe more tragic direction. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then you kind of embodied Bruce Wayne in that role. I thought that was really great that you kind of understood his struggles and his struggles as well. Was that important for you that the characters have that pathos and depth?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that that Bruce Wayne be like another mask that he wears. That Bruce Wayne be a disguise that is, you think he's so kind of he's such an absurd sort of caddish billionaire playboy. He could never possibly be Batman, and that it was part of how he got away with it in effect.
It's very introspective for Superman in this one in ways that I don't think we've ever seen. He's kind of discovering himself.
Absolutely, and that's the exciting part of this movie when it comes to Superman, is that we see the evolution of Superman. We see a young Superman, a Superman who is still finalizing his beliefs and his qualities to become that incredible ideal that Superman is.
The fans also wanted to know what's been the most exhilarating and challenging part of this.
Challenging, it's always challenging to try and represent the physical aesthetic of these superheroes. It takes many, many months and hours, and it doesn't stop when you start shooting. You have to continue on, and we have long shoot days, and then you couple that with long training sessions every day, and it does get tiring. It wears on the psychology of it.
Yes, I agree with Henry. He's 100%.
We see those iconic characters in very different moral, physical ways. How much was it an enjoyment to tackle them in a fresh start?
It was. I loved it. I mean, I came on board and they had already been, a ship that it was already running. They had already done a whole movie, and so I was catching up a little bit. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, and it was fun to kind of come into a movie where everybody did already, the ship had already, was running full steam, and so everyone was in, good running order, and I loved it. I had a great time, and the cast was great, and these guys were all just fun to work with, and it made it very easy for me to do what could have been a very difficult thing.
Oh, you did it very well. So
thank you.
He's quite morally conflicted in this one.
Mm-hmm. He is. With this one, what makes it interesting, what made it a fresh approach on Superman particularly, was that we're seeing the evolution of Superman. We're seeing the development. We're seeing him in a nascent state, and it's not the finished product. And within that story come mistakes and hopefully lessons.
Do you get as excited as the fans, to put them all together, even on the same screen?
Yeah, it definitely hits you when you see the other people in their characters, and then seeing even some of the other new characters, being tested out and coming and going, and get the feeling that it's mounting an even bigger and bigger world of heroes and preparing for Justice League. That was like even cooler, feeling like the potential that this was really going to expand into something bigger was definitely a kind of high geek ecstasy moment.
Absolutely, I wouldn't describe it better. Great. And that's the cool aspect. There's also all the themes there, the moral compass, the journalism, father figures, religious figures. There's so much there. It's quite a rich content, isn't it?
And absolutely. And one of the wonderful things about this movie, I think, is it mirrors the genius of comic books in the sense that everyone can take a little bit of something from it depending upon their own personal perspective. And that's the idea. And if the movie does well, then people will.
It resonates very well, this film, doesn't it?
What's that?
It does resonate very well.
I think so, yeah, because I think it's you know, it's a story that emerges from our time and our reality, and so it feels very current. It doesn't want to take you away to some imaginary land. It brings these heroes to our world and says, well, what would it be like if there really was a Superman here today, now among us?
Do you get excited about turning up on those sets because they can be so enormous? I know a lot of them is making your imagination work as well. How much do you enjoy the experience itself of those sets?
It was nice because it wasn't all green screen. You know, when it's all just green screen and all special effects, it's like it's very frustrating because nothing seems real. But Zach did a lot of in-camera stuff and built a lot of sets, so you actually could see the inside of the Kryptonian mothership, or you know, all these real builds, and that the real Batcave. That really makes it land like, wow, this is a big movie.
I never got to visit the Batcave, unfortunately. I'll have to
Next time.
try and revisit that opportunity when I can. Again, same answer as Ben. It's having that world exist was a lot of fun. With the CGI stuff and the green rooms, that they can become exhausting after a time. And because especially there's no depth perception in that green, and so you can start to go a little loopy. But it is also nice to exist within your own imagination during the shooting of those scenes.